to hire you this committee. Yes. And you go through.
It's your second term, yeah, so it's, yeah, it's been, yeah, they were, right, it's making me, you know, when you started, I didn't have any gray hair, no? I tell you that, I think it's a Brian who gave it to me. All right, well, you guys have a great meeting, it was great to see everybody, I'll be back, yeah, we'll make it a time, I won't bug you every time. Appreciate all the ideas. All right, have a great vacation.
Thanks, Dave. Drive safe.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Make sure we're nice to have you.
Bye. Got that right.
You all want me to close this or leave it open? Open.
Evenly.
Okay, we're recording.
Okay, we're recording. So we are calling to order the June 10th, 2025 meeting of the Richmond County Fire Protection District 8 Commissioners. And we have, completed our executive session on collective bargaining. And we are now ready to take any public comments. We don't have any public here. I believe we have any public on Zoom?
No.
No one? Okay. And so we'll then move down to the Chief's May report.
Did you all get the monthly report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions?
That.
Yes.
I think I'm good. I have questions, but it's not very.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. You mentioned in there about the health safety. No, I'll get to you later. I'll have to look at it. Yeah, I got it right there. Okay. Give me a second.
Okay. No problem.
Had to do with something that what they're testing. Oh, I remember. When you're testing people, or they have annual requirements, if they don't meet their annual requirements by the end of that year, how do you do? If they don't get all of their annual
I mean,
requirements.
maintain their skills and
Yeah.
certifications.
So is there like a process, something they have to go through, or do they have like 30 days, or do they get laid off, or? It was just
Are
something.
you talking about training or are you talking about the health on this?
Well, help us know, training.
Skills me.
Oh, yeah, so there's quarterly training, they all have
Right.
something to do. And if for some reason they don't finish by the end of that quarter, it can be disciplinary action, they have to make it up in the next.
So for only a quarter. To maybe just something.
With some documentation goes with it.
And if it becomes excessive, becomes a disciplinary issue. to deal with.
And there is a recertification requirement every 3 years for EOT through the county. If you don't have all of your elements there, well, instead of a almost a pro forma because you've completed all of the testing requirements along the way, they will have sort of special hands-on session, special way to do things.
It's just. It's all in my head.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. I just wondered if there's some process.
Brandon, when he was the training officer, was always on that. That was pushing that.
Daryl House.
Okay.
So, no, this was like, yeah, back in ancient history, when I used to be a volunteer.
You didn't have any quick.
Okay, let's move to our IR&R status, goals 1 and 2 updates.
So goal 1, our policy and procedures, and making some headway, but it's on the bottom right. So we had our committees, we had a lot of kind of pull different ways. So there are some drafts that are coming out, but we're not ready to shoot the boss yet. So the original plan was in June, we're gonna have them all drafted up, ready to start kicking around. But most of them haven't really been drafted out well enough to be comfortable enough to share with the rest of the department. We're not even sure, so they're still at the committee stage, made a little headway. Probably about half of them are just about ready.
How many procedures in total is there gonna be?
Let's see,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a bit.
And who's doing those?
So there's different committees, so I'm doing the incident readiness response, the operational ones. Brent McBride's working on the wild plan one. So each one of these is a committee. So we have each of our battalion chiefs, myself, chairing each of the committees to break down procedures by topic.
And how many are on the committee?
Well, mine has 6, some of them have 4, some have 5. I think 4 and 6 on each committee working on. The HBC has a different section. We have a couple of them that are actually shooting off the bus this week, but it'll all be done in June. So still working through, giving the committees a chance to put the procedures together, get a good draft on them. So then the next step is like let all the officers and everybody have the input on how are they looking, are they gonna work for everybody? Before then looking at them with the battalion chiefs to make sure all of them don't impact anything at a higher operational level. Once I get that buy off from everybody, I send them off to chief to recommend an option. So a lot of work and I underestimate how fast it would be.
Yeah, and you're, would you anticipate now, based on what you know
I
right now?
give it a fair shot. I think probably in August I should have all of them wrapped up. That's so, yeah, that's the question on goal 1. Procedure wise, basically just more time, but they're still not long. Goal 2, we had some good headway in the last month. We did our lieutenant assessment on May 29th. So station 3, we have just about every department in the county sent at least 1 person. So it was a big day. Had our 4 internal candidates, current members, then 1 outside member go through all the different stations, assessment panel. In fact, just today we posted the results on information work. So the way the process goes, you have to file them all, should be double check, verify all these are working at the stations, rank order them. There's a set of rules on the CPA about internal people get small reference points and that kind of thing. And then I sent them out to all the individuals, their results, each of the candidates got their results, waiting 5-day period for them to contest or challenge or question.
And so their results, is that like, if that's a score, oh, you got 94 out of 100 or?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, and that goes back down our, the idea being that, there's an interview panel that had 3 people on, 2 externals, 1 internal on the interview panel. And that counted for 60% higher score for them on, based on 10 questions that they asked. And then 40% of their score was everything else, all the other 4 stations combined, all the different things they had 12, 15 people doing different, objective inputs, feedback. They all rate them, score them, they average them down. Each station gets weighted compared to chief, myself, and the other chief officers. We had done a survey of public safety testing. How high do we value different things, such as is technical, not as important, and if somebody had really well on technical, it didn't score as high, wasn't as weighted as high, is your interpersonal, your planning capabilities and overall. So all of the results of those combined down, got ranked, and then that became 40% of the influence. So that shifted all that out. Right, results come back accordingly. And I can just today I posted on board the rankings already. You don't see each other's numbers, but just now we have that sort of lieutenant registry. So now we have 5 names, an external names of potential lieutenants. So when as a vacancy for lieutenant pops up, pick the top 3, rule 3, which means the 1 + 2. We're planning on scheduling an interview with the chief for 3 candidates because we have 1 lieutenant vacancy now. So get that scheduled, and then at that point, the fire chief can select one of those 3 based on the chief's interview. Or that as soon as she'd like to elect that. That'll be that 1 vacancy. We would then have 4 names left on that registry. And as we know, in January, we anticipate 3 additional lieutenant spots. So I hope to have more names because you got a registry that's supposed to be good for 3 years. Now we have anticipate 4 positions, we have 5 names. So it's kind of like all this work was. You want to see a list of 8 names, 12 names that
Yeah.
you can pick from, and we're pretty much exhausting it by January.
always frustrating.
That's where we are. So that's what lieutenant process, one piece of goal two. The other good news is we have our 6 lateral positions, so they're medical and psychological reviews, they have to process out. Maybe 6 conditional offers. Conditional offers are based on assuming your psych and your medical come back 2 thumbs up.
Right, so 6 conditional based on passing the bar on background investigation.
So the background sort of got.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, and then you did 6, and now the next hurdle or the next challenge is, medical.
So open to get the medical and psych, and once those are both good, then you can make 6 formal offers. We did have to push the date back, also work planning on June 16th, but background and medical side, all these things always do. I'm planning those 2 weeks, just to give us way over, but we had to push back, so now we're looking at July 7th to be our orientation day. So they'll be right here, getting their orientation, welcome aboard, and for the next 3 weeks, we'll be the in-house Battle Academy. So we've got 3 of our firefighters on 3 of our platoons, they will be working with them. Chief Klaus, of course, is overseeing their training plan. So for 3 weeks, they'll be doing their in-house stuff, mostly trying to get focused in on getting their reciprocity. They need their EMT, because they already have their national county. EBIT, did some driver stuff, a lot of the policy procedure, firefighter skills. Kind of condensed academy, really just a 3-week crash course for academy, and then shows. So that's the lateral process, and then as for the entry level process, the third piece of 2 is our entry level. So that's actually really good news, is last I checked, we have 90 some applicants.
Oh my gosh.
For entry level, so. And a lot. In September, we'll plan to pull that list. What happens if there's 90 applicants, they apply and take the scores. They all have a written test score up there. Come down through, volunteers we have, get 5 preference types to get added to it. That'll crunch in on our list of names we interview. So, don't have a hard number yet, but we're anticipating potentially interviewing 30 people. So of the 90, pick the top third, do interviews, so assuming there's more than 90 by September. So
Some of them have like already had their like 2-year experience at Bates or one of those places to base sort of.
there'd be a variety of skills. Some people are everything from they have a driver's license and they're 18 years old and no experience.
Okay.
Some of them could already be firefighters somewhere else. Already be certified, could have already been debates, could have already been, so it's gonna be a
So they're
variety.
already-
So, yeah, there'll be a variety of all the applicants, different experience, skills and all that, but the score will indicate what their test score was.
How many do you typically have? 90 sounds like a lot.
It is, but it's because we got rid of the fact that they're no longer required to be a firefighter and they needed to. So before, when we were competing for how many firefighter EMTs were out there that wanted to entry job in South Bay, there weren't as many. How many people who have a driver's license and they're 18 years old and they want to be a firefighter, our numbers are kind of low. So the benefit to this, it gives us more ability to find just the best caliber, best fit, best person that may not have firefighting experience, but we built that in, so. A little bit of a different velocity, processing at this time, but, yeah, at 90 now, so I don't know, I guess we'll be over 100 by September. So we do the 30 interviews in September, initial panel, and we're working through like more line membership, attendance and all that on that initial panel. They'll narrow it down to the top candidates that panel likes, and then we go to the chief's interview, at which point we're able to think and get back
So
to
the
the
question
conditional
is,
process.
what is the future plan? That once you get all your staffing, you know, your 28 on board, are you gonna continue with the volunteer program? Or are you gonna,
It's the same plan we have documented in our 5-year plan. We haven't changed
20,
that.
yeah, assumes 25 volunteers. What was that for, 5-year period?
still have volunteer?
Same, we have same.
Right, right now, Say that.
Instead of, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I don't remember what I was gonna say.
Good words.
Yeah, it's okay. I didn't, obviously didn't need to say it, so it's okay. Go ahead.
Your timeline for that still first of the year,
So, yeah.
your timeline for the entry level position, so it's still
Yes.
first of the year?
Yep, yeah, so we do interviews in September, which allows us to process that down. To conditional offers, and we started on the background. As we know, these things take time, so we're anticipating September, October backgrounds. Ideally, early November, starting on the conditional offer, medical, psych, part. So that into December, we're all good to go, or January 1st. The new folks would start. So early January, whichever Monday probably falls in, I'll be starting on that. Talk nice to our neighbor friends over at Lacey, see how many seats we've got for the deputy.
Little guy.
Yeah,
3 to 4 positions for that entry level.
that all depends on how a lot of things. So
How do you give them that role?
basically, we had, I mentioned on the tenant thing. Just got a different universe of sellings to go, if next term will fill a spot, that would be one number different. If everything's internal for the floor tenants. Different. So I could anticipate between 3 to 5.
Anything else? Okay, and then our staffing update.
Good, so,
Yeah.
if this works for you, we have a question, otherwise just do it today. You can see on the back floor your question, on the volunteer counts. 27 is our projected, how many volunteers are have now, we have 28 right now. So in January of 26, our number goes down to 25. So. If we, need to pull in a few more volunteers early in 26 to maintain, but 25 is what we maintain that number of volunteers.
Right.
So after that point, it would just be bringing on board volunteers to maintain that 25 numbers currently.
Anything else on any of those topics? Okay, back to you, sir. Policies.
Yes, last month we talked about the updated policy on management of legal risk. And we've actually split the old one into two, and we created a new policy on litigation defense policy. Have not, I've received some comments and incorporated them at the last meeting, haven't heard any sense, but I'd like to work for both policies.
Okay.
Questions?
Didn't talk through it pretty well last time. Yeah, gave you the input. Okay. So we're looking for motion now, I guess.
I make a motion that we approve both the manage legal risk and the litigation. That's
Yes.
as written.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Like, sign it. Nice. Sometimes those do.
That's all I need sometimes, like 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm just gonna start snoring. Yeah, I
okay.
think she caught me before. I felt myself going this way. I did, I felt myself down, I'm like, oh shit.
Okay, our business functions MOU.
Right, I did send out a copy. You've seen the 3 new positions. They're replacing essentially one. This was after some discussion about apportioning Justin's job, so we shouldn't be paying him 3 times the amount of money that we did, but that didn't last very long. So anyway, we have an MOU that would put that into effect till the end of the year temporarily. And there was negligible cost impact, $3,000 or $4,000 a year. Really significant. I just wanted to get board approval to sign the MOU. And to get that in place so we can fill those.
And that's for these ones, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's smart to separate those things out. I really think that is a good. I mean, it sounds like it was a lot of work for one person to handle.
Well, you don't know what you don't know, and Justin was thorough, but we also inserted some things that we were going to want to have anyway. You can ask them the agreement.
It'll already be in there.
It will already be in there.
Yeah.
So there's a combination of things, but I think it makes sense. We talked it through.
Did we approve the one where you sort of separated out some of the responsibilities that Heidi has to be in charge of? Did we already do that one too?
Well, yes, that was the job description for the assistant.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are you looking?
Yeah, I had a question about, sort of how you actually operate this. You know, we talked about, so Fred is in charge of whatever, uniforms, and Fred leaves to go somewhere else. We need to get a new person, and nobody's interested in that. Everybody's like, nope, not me, not me. And then you assign somebody, right, or whatever. And there are some of these tasks that are pretty specific, detailed, you need some background, all that kind of stuff. So how do you deal with that? Or you say, well, Billy, you're gonna be the new uniform guy, and here's the book, or we're gonna send you to school, or here's the YouTube video, or, I mean, kind of, how do we get there?
It's a two-edged sword. It's nebulous and it's nebulous. So it's nebulous good and nebulous bad. It gives me leeway to pick and choose to some degree.
Right.
And I can pick somebody who already has a function, because they can have more than one.
Yeah.
As long as they continue to maintain it appropriately. And so forth. And we have some people that are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
And that was part of the thing, that chart that Dave had was clarifying that a little bit as well in the agreement. So this is all driven by the process we agreed to in their CBA. So, the real, and that hasn't really been a problem. The problem is at the end of the year, you bet your job again and everybody has to bid through it and everything, and that's a real pain in the ass. So, what we're trying to do is the only time that we go through this process of signing somebody new is if we have to, rather than regularly.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been a problem yet. Couple of things to consider. We're gonna have almost double the number of people that will be eligible for doing things in a year or two.
Right.
Which will spread the thing out. But I think the biggest thing is people are finding out that it's a pretty good deal. And we've got some really talented people who are really passionate about things they're doing. I mean, this morning we had Ally, who's the assistant to Derek in the safety program. She's making this thing by the whole lot of horns and is really doing it. So it's becoming a desirable thing.
Yeah.
And I think we have defined roles pretty clearly, so there's not a lot of confusion, there's not a lot of overlap, and that makes it more helpful. And the VCs have been very supportive about it. So I think it's cautiously say it's a successful experiment. And I think this is kind of an indication of it is, as we find that there are things that we need to do. For example, the management of the fire operations management, or the software, basically, was something that we didn't have defined, and we were able to kind of insert that in there and have somebody manage that. So there's other jobs that might arise that we can make modifications with, but at this point, at the end of the contract, we've got what the contract currently says, modifying it slightly. With some luck, it really hasn't been a problem.
Sure.
So there isn't a definite answer to your
Well,
question.
right, because you got people and it's,
We got people.
yeah, so, and that's fine. I just was curious about it, I mean, there's some of, you read through that and some of it is kind of, wow, there's some technical things there that.
Responsibilities.
Yeah, I was just handed a couple of those. I wouldn't know what to do tomorrow. How would you get started? So,
We've been pretty thoughtful with people that do that, and Ally's a good example. We provided training for her to do that function better, and she's, it's been an incentive for her. So I think we can continue to do that. So
I guess the good thing I hear is that the folks that we've offered training for these tasks have been willing to do that.
I think
and
so.
embrace it. It hasn't been a loggerheads or anything.
Yeah, the biggest one has been the training, actually the training role, both fire and EMS, and I think they've done a pretty good job of taking that by.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah, well, those are really good.
Do you have a process for the line? Do you ask somebody to do it, or do you open it up to the line where there's a process?
It's a currently fitting thing, and it's has some seniority impacts in that. And again, that's one of the things that in that chart that we're trying to change with the union. But I think a lot of the folks kind of see the person's face on the job and they kind of do backroom bargaining of, I'll do this one if you do that one, I think. I mean, I don't know what you would think. Is that accurate?
Pretty much. Most time by the time we send it out. They know.
Commitments to these positions, do they set up 2 years, is it 4 years, that's something that we. want-
Right now, it's an annual thing in the agreement. That's what you want to get rid of. I mean, it can become a job for life, as far as I'm concerned, as long as you're doing it correctly. And until somebody wants to leave or gets fired or dies or whatever.
When we check in annually, see if you want to do
Oh,
it again.
monthly,
Monthly?
yes.
Every October, right now, the CDA says we have to bid.
Oh, for bidding the position, yeah, it's an annual thing.
Yeah, these are great. It incentivizes, incentivizes the position, you know, I was gonna suggest expectations, accountability with those, but you have a lot of that already written in.
And it is part of the PDP.
Yep.
So, you get graded on two things as a member, you get graded on your base, job description, lieutenant, firefighter, whatever. And you get based on any program pay assignment too, and they're equally important. Frankly, I think those are more important than the regular one, but they're both addressed in the PDP.
Yeah, comes down to retention and empowering our people, and this is a good way to do a lot of
I
this.
think so.
Okay, nice.
Any other comments or questions on this? I think it's, interesting topic and, thanks for dividing that up.
Yeah, and
Amazing that it was needed to have so much divided out.
relatively inexpensive, but you start talking about annual trainings, the EVIFs, I mean, there's all sorts of different directions you can go, and these people are owning these programs for relatively inexpensive costs.
Sure.
And
A lot about it.
Yeah, just,
Right, have your residents and experts, it takes the burden off the Tai Chi's, the ACs.
and it's just, final comment on how good Justin was at getting all that done.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve
I'll make a motion that we approve the MOU for apparatus suppression equipment systems technology and PPE. Nice second.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we're to the secretary's report, approval of May 13.
Yeah, I sent out some minutes and nobody had any input,
Yes, you did a good job.
so I'm assuming that.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Looking for a motion to
I'll move
approve.
that we approve the May 13th minutes, that's right.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Warrants.
Any questions on the warrants?
I have a question. There's one on here, it's number 549, it's for $7,120.73, resident house desk repair.
Is that supposed to be deck repair and not?
Oh, it's supposed to be the deck, not that.
That must
That
be.
was my typo.
Okay, thank you. I had that one too. Yeah,
Sorry.
I was confused why we're paying for that, oh,
right.
got it.
That,
Yeah.
yes. I
That's
thought
why all
maybe
the
that was
vehicles were in front of the house.
part of the NASA control
I remember we
system or.
That was quite the deck.
So did they end up taking it down or did they just rebuild it?
They took it off, basically.
Took it off?
And there were some repairs, of course, you take a rotting deck off, that's what you find behind a rotting deck, it's a rotting house, so
Yes.
we've had to do a few repairs there to the products done. And
So did you get rid of the door then from the upstairs or?
we boarded them off, so we checked with fire code and everything, so we can do that. The deck was not a required exit way for the building, so
That was on the back of the house.
on that side.
Any other warrant questions?
That was the only one that really stood out. I'm always shocked at, when I read these, but, no, that one, I agree. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Okay,
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the warrants as written, with the change of debt.
I'll second.
all right, moved and seconded, all in favor, aye. Thank you. All right, do we have any
I have
announcements?
no announcements. I just leave it blank in case something comes
Okay.
up, but I don't, so sorry about that.
That's fine.
Oh, wait, she,
On June 21st, we have graduation for our firefighter, so
oh, that's right.
unfortunately I'll be out of the area. And they it was gonna be 16, I was gonna be it, but June 21st, I think there's an announcement.
Yeah, there's not, they should have gone with the officers.
So now we'll be floating around, we'll make sure that that's.
I'll make sure
particular
it's, I know.
Our own Zach Grimaldo, really proud of, he's done a great job and. But he would like to.
Just EMT or fire.
For fire, well, for fire.
Okay,
4 o'clock at St. Mark's.
Okay.
St. Mark's.
Where?
St. Mark's.
And on the 16th is our EMT graduation, so we'll get that information.
It's actually great. Yeah, he's a great kid. He's a leader of Boston Grove. Yeah, he's, District 8 patch out there. He's shiny. Proud.
nice.
What time is that graduation?
4 o'clock.
And is that one building right by the gym?
It's in the gym.
It's in the gym.
All right, Commissioner comments, anything? Okay. Let's see, review and follow-up. Can't think of anything that we had.
Yeah, I continue to wade our way through personnel stuff and be pressuring Brandon to get his damn policies done, so.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been a full.
All right, let me know if you need any help on this.
I
want pressuring for
Fourth, Fourth of July, and the South Bay Fire Department will be represented in the Commonwealth Independence Day Parade,
That's right.
our private engine that we have.
That was July 3rd for that one, right?
Fourth.
July 4th for the Tumwater one, okay.
We're the Boston Harbor normally is third. They're not having their fireworks this year, but they are having the kid parade, which will, it's always fun to watch. So
So
we'll
maybe
go down
we
and
decided
do that.
to do that.
No, well, it was coming real hassle and political hot potato.
And
And
expensive.
really expensive.
Yeah, sure.
So it's kind of sad that I can understand there. Right now.
Okay. All right, I think that's it. We will be recessing for employee performance review in executive session. I anticipate that's going to be only about 10 minutes. And then we will come back and we will adjourn after that.
Oh, wait, we're gonna